Hi, I hope that this video is going to be very helpful and informative for you today. We're going to be going over two different kinds of sewing machines, how to thread them from the top down to the bobbin. And let's get started. This first one is an older sewing machine, and it's probably at least 30 years old. It's had a lot of wear and tear and a lot of love, but it's older, and so to thread it, the threading principles have not changed much in the last 30 years. So we're going to go over this, and hopefully if you have a similar machine, it will look and act very similar to this one, and that will help you if you need to thread your own machine if you have an older one like this. Older machines are fantastic because they're metal inside. You have to put a little bit of oil in them from time to time, but they just stand up to the test of time. They're just really, really strong. So I love this sewing machine. All my other ones I've kind of worn out, and I keep coming back to this one because it won't wear out. And it doesn't do anything fancy, super, super basic, but it's strong and it's constant. So don't shy away from older machines. Sometimes they're way better and probably less expensive because they're older, but they're great. So I'm going to do a purple thread so you can see better. The first thing you need to know is your presser foot must be up. So raise your presser foot. That releases the tension discs, which are here. So the first pass goes through this loop and through the tension discs. And you can tell they're the tension discs because this is the tension dial. And then it comes back up, and then it goes through this little hammerhead on the left side, and then I don't have a light, so sorry, hopefully you can see okay, and then it catches over here. Now if I had a 2-needle attachment right here, then I would use this side and this side, but since I don't, I'm just going to loop it onto this side and then through the needle. Now I need a little bit of help seeing that little needle with this lighting. I like it just because that's easiest for me to get it to stay together. Now I can put my foot down and have a little more access to my needle. Okay, once it's in, I'm going to pull it to the back, out of the way. This is an older style of bobbin loading. Now, hopefully you can see it with this light. The bobbin that has the metal casing, or the metal round. This is the bobbin casing. When I put it in here, you lift this. It's a little handle, but it needs to be lifted up because there's a little hook down inside. So you lift it up so that you have a better hold on it, and your bobbin needs to just snap in. And when I let go of it, oh, try that one more time. It's supposed to snap in. I don't know if this one's just an old bobbin. Now there's a hook right here, a little jag right here. If I pull my thread, I pull it up, and you hear the little snap. It snaps into place in this little hole right here. This is the tension for the bobbin. It can be adjusted right here with this little tiny little screw. But overall, if you can tug it like this, just tug it a little bit and it moves, there is tension on it. You don't want to mess with this. If you tug it and you have to pull on it, then you need to loosen the tension. If it just slides and there is no tension, tighten it. And if there is not an ability to tighten, like it won't tighten anymore, then obviously the screw is broken and you'll need a new bobbin casing. So it is perfect. We're going to go around this way to the right of this little hook here, and then I'm going to use this again. If I'm holding onto this, it doesn't come out. That's the reason for this thing. There's a little hook inside, it grabs it. So I can put it in without it sliding and falling like that.
About which direction you're supposed to pull the thread?
Oh, I didn't talk about that, you're right. So the thread, when I pull it, these go clockwise. These must go clockwise. If they go the other direction, take it out and flip it over, because this is the direction of the bobbin. When it's inside, it has to be pulled that way. Thank you. Okay, now it's in. Good, good. It's going to stay, it kind of clicks in. Now I'm going to hold this thread tight, but not, I'm going to hold it firmly, but not tightly. And I'll show you why. See how it kind of pulls the thread in my fingers? And it pulls it around and grabs that bobbin thread, and then I can pull it up. Made a little loop. Now I've got the bobbin and the top thread in one. Now because you don't want to sew with your thread over this, it's going to suck it under when you start sewing. You always want to put your thread underneath the presser foot through these little holes here. That's what the holes are for. And then you're ready to sew. Make sure everything is closed up tight. And what I always do when I'm finished sewing, I have this little fold of fabric. I release the tension on the presser foot just because the coil that's inside the spring, I want it to keep well and strong as long as I can. So I always release the presser foot when I'm done. Let's go over to our other machine. It's a newer machine, but a very similar concept. This has this fancy thing that closes so you don't have to see the thread if you don't want to, but it's obviously good either way. This has the same idea. Here's our catch right here, just like the top of the other one, but it goes around because the tension discs on this one are on top right here. It always has the hook here before the tension discs, just so that it flows properly through the tension discs. Again, my presser foot is up, so be aware of that. If it's down and I'm threading it, it will not thread through properly and you'll get loops when you try to sew. So this is super easy because also it has arrows. So we're going to go down and then up and then back down again. This one I'm hooking on the other side. It's kind of pulling. There we go. This one is super handy for a couple of reasons. I could just thread it through if I wanted, but it has this other attachment here that I could thread it. So I'm going to put that through there. Just hook it up on here so it's snug. It's got an intention, and it will loop it for me. You see that loop? So if it loops for me, it loops through the back of the needle. I can just pull it through. And then again through the presser foot hole and to the back. This is a completely different kind of bobbin, and that's mainly why we wanted to do this video, to describe the two different kinds of bobbins, because they're so different, you put them in completely different. Now the other bobbin was a metal bobbin. Metal bobbins won't work in this brand. They have their own brand of bobbins, so when you are creating bobbins or purchasing bobbins and putting thread on them, you have to be aware if it's going to work in your machine or not. So if you have a brand name machine, you want to purchase that brand of bobbin. What I mean by that is, this is a Brother. I'm not promoting for Brother, but I have a Brother, and so I buy Brother brand bobbins. That is like bibbity bobbity boo Brother band bobbins. Woo! Okay. Besides that, if you have a Singer, then you'd want to buy Singer bobbins. Just because if you don't, they're a little bit picky. These newer ones are a little more picky. They will possibly mess up your machine and you'll think that it's you and it's not. So when in doubt, rethread your machine, check your bobbins, make sure that they are the brand and the correct size that is required. So that's just a little tip for people like troubleshooting. Okay, my bobbin here is going to come around back. The thread comes around back, around like this. And this is a drop-in bobbin, so I just literally set it in there. Now this doesn't have a tension disc because it doesn't have a case, but the tension is right there. So I have to make sure it goes under there, and I pull it taut just to make sure that it has engaged with the tension dials under there. And then I can just cut it off and snap that little lid on. And then this is ready to sew as well. But since I'm not going to be sewing with this right now, I have another little pad for my presser foot, and I put down the presser foot to release the tension. Hopefully that helps you in any troubleshooting that you need to do with your sewing machine. When in doubt, rethread it. Have a great day.